Hello everybody and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be talking about something that Games Workshop needs to change, and that is the lifespan of game editions. Okay, what am I talking about? Lifespan of game editions. Well, what I'm talking about is very simple. Games Workshop have pretty much a simple model. Every 3 years we can guarantee there will be a new edition of 40k and Age of Sigmar, and this is not good. It is hurting the game, and ultimately it's hurting its consumers, customers, and Games Workshop in the long run. And pardon me, and hopefully they will see this and change, because it's clear they can't keep up with this. But what am I actually talking about? Well, let's just have a little look. So last year, 40k 10th edition dropped, and we've now into it. So basically, if you look at it right now, an edition is basically 36 months, okay? 36 months we have for an edition. Now, in Games Workshop's eyes, that's good, because they can guarantee a cash injection every 3 years in a big way, because obviously the launch boxes sell a lot and they make a lot of money from those launch boxes, and the general launch of a new edition creates a lot of money. But the problem is it's not great for us, the fans, and the consumers, and there's a lot of reasons for this. And it's also not helping them. And I've got a feeling that as Games Workshop and Warhammer grows and becomes more mainstream, and they start branching out into things like computer game crossovers and Joy Toys and Amazon TV shows, that Games Workshop's popularity and Warhammer as an IP's popularity will grow. And they can't keep up with the current demand, never mind any increased demand, by an increased popularity of their IP. So something has to give, and that thing has to be the lifespan of an edition. Now, if we look at Age of Sigmar 4th edition right now, and this is a really, really good example, right? We have the Dawnbringer's Crusade campaign book. Basically, Games Workshop kind of release a set of campaign books at the end of an edition, right? And it kind of normally ties in with the last faction that's going to get updated for the Codex or Battle Tome. So in Age of Sigmar 3rd edition, that was the Flesh Eater Courts, and it kind of kicked off with giving us the new Cities of Sigmar Battle Tome. Pardon me, and that kind of sort of accumulated. But the problem that we had is the last book of the Dawnbringer's Crusade has only now just come up on the pre-order or just been released. And we're well into the march into 4th edition. We've seen the box reveals. In fact, I think they announced the pre-order for the last book of the Dawnbringer's Crusade campaign the same weekend that they previewed the big box, the big launch box for 4th edition. And that's really bad, like really bad. For me, from my experience, I jumped into World Eaters at the end of 9th edition. I got Angron, got Berserkers, got my Codex. I actually still have my Codex on my shelf, just there, right behind me. And I got my Codex, but it was only relevant for 6 months. Like that's bad. That's bad for a consumer. And the worst thing is, and it's not so much. It's not so, and I know somebody's going to come out of it in the comments and go, "You must be new to Games Workshop, first time." Screw you. Basically, it's not anything to do with like wanting to buy the book. I'm a big fan of actually buying physical books, and yes, there are benefits to digital, but I don't really want to read my Battle Tome on my phone, and I don't want to have to buy an expensive iPad to read my rule books. I just want to buy my book, have it on my shelf and collect it and enjoy flicking the pages. So I like digital products, but I also like physical products. So yeah, I'm not in the camp of, oh, we have to go digital. Like, no, I quite like the physical book. But my issue is that And the biggest point about this whole thing is, and the reason why it doesn't work is, I'm using the World Eaters as an example. The World Eaters got their codex. This is the first time a World Eaters had got a codex. Now, they've had rules and everything else in the Space Marines Codex, but they finally got their own codex. They got 6 months of that edition. 6 months. Out of a 36-month cycle, they got to play with their toys and play the game of 40k 9th edition for 6 months. That's it. After that, they were gone. And the biggest thing right now is we're in a period where both core systems have now got an index. So you've got indexes for 40k and you've got faction packs for Age of Sigmar. Now, as we've seen with 10th edition, the first 6 months of the edition, nothing really come out. I mean, if you look at 10th edition, the game launched in the summer, June time, and then it wasn't until like the September, October that the Space Marine Codex come out and the Tyrannid Codex come out. And then it wasn't like just before Christmas, then the Necrons and the Admech come out. So there was like a 3-month gap of that edition where nothing come out. Nothing was updated. So basically, there was a lot of people running around using an index. Now, there are going to be people in 10th edition, and especially Age of Sigmar, that will be using indexes and faction packs right up until the end of the edition. Right? Now, Games Workshop can produce the codexes and everything, and to get everything out in 18 months. So maybe by next year, Age of Sigmar will be completely and utterly updated. Very unlikely. But 40k probably will, more than likely, by summer next year, be fully updated. But that kind of leads us into, like, should it be that much of a rush? Like, the players should at least be able to get to play the game. And, like my Space Marines here, I started collecting my Space Marines for 10th edition, my Howling Griffins. Let me just get one. My little lieutenant, I've almost got him finished. I started collecting my Howling Griffins. I've had like one game with them, and I've used my codex once because I'm building and painting my army. And like by the time I get finished, I'm probably only going to have maybe a year or so of games left of 10th edition before I'm looking at a new edition. It's just not good. It's just not good for the customer base, and it can't be good for Games Workshop. Surely it should be that they should be getting the codexes done and then have the last couple of years of the edition to come out with a nice big faction pack and crusades, and a lot of things as well kind of disappear. So as we look at as we look at things like Crusade for 40k, we've had one book released for it, and that's it. We look at like Age of Sigmar, I'll probably get a Path to Glory book, and then that'll disappear, and there'll be nothing else of it. We went to 6 monthly General's Handbook or chapter approved, and they've gone back to a year. It just doesn't work. Like there doesn't seem to be much time for the addition to bed in and for players to basically get playing it, because by the time you get your battle tome or your codex, it's almost time for you to start thinking about the next edition, and it's like constant, and it's just really crap, to be completely fair. And I can imagine that once the Amazon show comes out and Henry Cavill, I might actually use that in the thumbnail and watch my numbers go up, because everyone will think this is an Amazon video. But once the popularity of Warhammer starts growing a lot more, Games Workshop are not going to be able to continue this. They're not going to be able to continue this pace without some give. And that means new models, because models are a time investment. Financial investment, but mostly time. You know, you're looking at least 2 years of lead from them being drawn to being sculpted to be going into manufacturing and going on the shelf. It's like a 2-year process for that to happen. And they can't constantly do that if everything is in demand. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think the 3-year editions just don't work. Ideally, they need to go back to 5. They need to go back to 5-year editions, and they need to give themselves some breathing room. I mean, there's no reason why they can't. If you look at the Horus Heresy and the Old World and the Lord of the Rings and things like that, they have like huge lifespans. Like, I'm fully expecting the Horus Heresy and the Old World to not get new editions for the foreseeable future. I wouldn't be surprised if they push on 10 years before they start looking at bringing out 3.0 and 2.0 for the Old World. And if you look at it, the game works really well. They're able to continually update the ranges and add new things, and it works. And the Heresy community are, by and large, pretty happy. Okay, not always happy. I'm pretty sure there's quite a large element of salt, but, you know, rivet counters can get salty just by rivets being missing. But yeah, you get what I'm saying. Like, there isn't a worry that there's a new edition for Heresy coming next year, because like there isn't any rumors of that, and there's no talk of it, and there probably isn't. And it would be mental for them to change Heresy to a 3-year cycle, like 40k and Age of Sigmar. So I think bringing it to 5 years works. And if you think about it as well, that if they staggered this, like you've got 40k coming out, and then the next year you have Age of Sigmar's new edition. So then you've got another year, the third year, and sort of like the second year of 40k, where there's nothing. There's no big releases. Now, you could turn around and put army releases in there and stuff like that, but there's nothing really. And then you've got like the next year after that, it's 40k. And then next year after that, it's Age of Sigmar. So you've still got a year in that cycle of nothing big coming out. And that you should have that. That should be they should have more than just that breathing space. And I think it would probably do them a world of good. So yes, I thought I'd just make a video and rant a little bit about lifespans of editions, and now it's not really feasible and it doesn't work, and so ultimately it hurts us, the consumers. And Games Workshop can't afford to do that, because if they hurt us people, we're the ones that stop buying their games and playing their games. And things with 3D printing and other gaming systems out there, you know, people have a lot more choice nowadays. And, you know, they can't afford for people just to start wandering off because they're just bombarded with this stuff. So I think they need to move to 5-year editions. Because, you know, like, getting back into the hobby in a big way like 20-odd years ago, we were like in 3rd edition. So in 3rd edition... So in 20 years, we've basically gone from 3rd edition to 10th edition. That's mental. In reality, we should really, you know, maybe be like on 7th edition now. Maybe. Like, realistically, should be on 7th edition. And Age of Sigmar is like not even 10 years old, and we're already going into 4th edition. So, you know... They need to slow things down. They need to expand those editions out to 5 years, give themselves some breathing room, allow the player base and the customer base to play and enjoy that edition, and they can come out with some really cool stuff and come out with some nice campaign systems or alternative rules or different ways of playing the game, and bring out a new factions and expand the game and give armies the update. Like, look at the Eldar. How many editions has Eldar been getting updated? Like, and they're still pretty much aspect warriors that are not in plastic yet. Like, that's mental. That's absolute, because they don't have time to update all of these armies. There's models, like, look at Grey Knights. Grey Knights are still pretty bad. Like, they're really outdated now compared to everything else. They just don't have the time to update everything. And Age of Sigmar and the Old World now being a thing together side by side even throws up even more problems with updating things like that. Because you're going to have like factions like the Cities of Sigmar who have got Old World models in the army, but we still don't have a full roster of models for Age of Sigmar. And it's probably going to be at least 5th edition before that is an entire Age of Sigmar range rather than a mixed range of Age of Sigmar models and the Old World models. It's just nuts. So they need to slow it down. They need to expand that out to 5 years, and then they can fix these problems and update everything and make everything cool. Because we are all magpies, we like shiny miniatures, and we all buy it no matter what if it looks cool. So yeah, there is other ways for them to get the cash injections. But yeah, that's the video, peeps. If you like what I do, please like, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. Ring the bell, check out my members area, my Patreon, and you can be an absolute legend and let me know what you think in the comments below. Should Games Workshop move to 5 years for an edition? Are they going too fast? What's your thoughts? Let me know in the comments, all right? And I'll catch you all in the next video, people. Goodbye for now.